This season was definitely one of the best seasons of Love is Blind that I have seen. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Stephanie Anya, Steph Anya for short, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Today, I'm finally going to be talking about Love is Blind UK. If you're curious, stay tuned. All right, guys, I have to start this series talking about Sam. Sam, I think, is one of the most discussed people on Love is Blind. You guys, keep in mind, we don't know this person in real life. We don't know what their life is like outside of this very peculiar setting. We don't know how we would act in that environment. But these videos are based on what actually came across on our screens after the edit and after production. I have never met him. I am not his therapist, but this is just based on what I've seen and, more importantly, what it reminds me of in terms of sessions that I've had with my clients. What I noticed right away about Sam, he made me feel a little bit off in the way that he presented himself to the camera and to his fellow castmates. Some of the things that really got my attention is that it felt like Sam was in a position where he was trying to literally win people over. He would focus his dates talking about himself and what he needs, and the positive things he would see in a person is not how they would fit together, but more specifically what that person could do for him. I'm going to share some specific examples of all of these things, but that was my major takeaway. I know there's been some conversation around whether or not he was on the show just for fame. I find that to be a very difficult thing to discern with anybody who's going on reality TV to find love. And so it's one of those things where I try not to focus my assessments on that because I just can't know. All I can go is based on how they presented themselves on camera. I don't know what their motives are to be on the show. I can just talk about what they actually did for sure that we saw. So I thought it was odd that maybe, again, this is editing, but one of the very first things we learn about Sam is that he got a nose job.
I never liked what I saw in the mirror, and I have done things to improve my appearance. I did have a nose job.
No shame for people who get body work at all, but I just thought that was an interesting way to introduce yourself to the show. And I think that whether he was doing it intentionally or not, it seemed as though he was trying to make being insecure and feeling unloved by others a major tenet of his personality. I'm not sure if he was trying to garner sympathy or if he was trying to be relatable, or maybe he was just being really vulnerable and transparent. But for some reason, it didn't feel very authentic to me when he would keep talking about people not giving him a chance.
I know I've got so much to give, but I just want someone to give me the chance.
It just felt like, hey, this is your chance. Use this opportunity to really get to know people instead of talking about how often people in your past did not give you a chance. These are some of the comments that he said that really threw me off. He said,
Aesthetically, people think, oh no, come on, Sam, you can get any girl you want.
He said,
and if you saw me, then I think you might be impressed.
So on a show that is completely designed to prevent people from leading with looks, he is trying to tease about his looks and say, you'll be impressed if you see what I look like. What a bold claim. At that point, I started questioning if Sam might be trying to then hide insecurities with arrogance. That is a quality that I'll see oftentimes, that there is this massive level of insecurity that is being hidden by a false sense of arrogance. And that arrogance or self-confidence, as they might portray themselves as, is very fragile. Simple comments, simple feelings of rejection, simple feelings of abandonment can bring out a whole different side of them because they don't feel a person is worthy of their best self if they are not playing into the dynamics that make them feel the most confident. In this case, he seems to think that he will make it a lot further in this experiment if people assume that he's attractive. So he's working that into a lot of his conversations. In his dates, as I said, he talks a lot about himself. You know, you rarely see him ask a question to really garner an understanding of the person that's on the other side of that wall. He shares a lot about himself, and that might come off as, wow, he's really open, he's really transparent. I view that as being pretty self-absorbed.
Do you like to stroke your boyfriends?
Stroke.
You know, like those little tickle strokes in bed?
I'm a very affectionate person. I love cuddles, I love kissing.
I've been told I'm quite a good kisser.
So that is a concern that I would have if I was Jasmine or Nicole on the other side of the wall, as I would say, where are the questions about me? But you guys, these people are in the pods for 3 weeks. We see such a small snippet of those conversations that I can't confidently say he didn't ask them any questions about themselves. But it does seem like from what we saw, it felt like I was learning so much about him and nothing about the people that he was talking to. Then on his date with Jasmine, one of the first things he says is,
You wouldn't realize like what an amazing person I am.
I personally would like to come to that conclusion on my own. I wouldn't want someone to have to tell me that they're an amazing person, to tell me that I'd be impressed if I saw what they looked like. I don't need you to tell me that. Talk to me about your story. Talk to me about your life. Talk to me about your dreams. Talk to me about me. Ask me questions about my dreams. Ask me what I envision marriage to look like. And let's see if those things fit. I don't need you to tell me how I should feel about you. So those kind of statements from the very beginning, very first conversations I saw with Sam, I didn't have a good feeling about how he would continue in this experiment. I really appreciate it when Sam was in his dates with Jasmine. She's a very intuitive person, and I felt like she communicated that to Sam. She didn't allow a lot of compliments to deter her from paying attention to what she really needed in a partner.
Kind of have this like gut feeling, you're telling me what I want to hear.
And this is something that a lot of us get caught in when we are dating, is that we are just looking for those reassurances. And reassurance, especially through words, is not enough to sustain a relationship. If you're the type of person that needs a lot of reassurance, that is okay. I would consider myself to be the type of person who likes a lot of reassurance. I'm a words of affirmation type of person. However, that is not enough to sustain a relationship. And I think Jasmine saw through that. She said, I believe you are telling me things that I want to hear. And that, I think, ultimately is what we saw happen with both Jasmine and Nicole.
But you know what? You're making me a bit scared, if I'm honest, because I feel like you're saying a lot of the right things and it's making me kind of a bit afraid, you know?
Because once Jasmine broke things off with Sam, he seemed to be, I wouldn't say devastated, but disappointed to feel like he wasn't chosen. He made statements to Jasmine about Nicole that suggested that he did not value that connection at the same level that he valued the one with Jasmine. When Sam was talking to Jasmine about why she's his top connection, I didn't like the language he used. He basically said,
Give me the love, like the affection that I need as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that other person doesn't know quite what I need.
Once again, the focus is all on you. Why is it she doesn't understand quite what you need? Are you thinking about your compatibility, chemistry, what you can offer her, what a relationship would look like in the long run for the both of you? Or are you solely focused on what a person can provide you with?
You would just be quite a big rock in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like what I need.
And it's fine to say that a person can't give you what you need, but I think that it was very interesting to hear Sam speak that way about Nicole. And then when Jasmine ends their relationship, if you want to call it that, he totally changes gears. The first thing I thought was, wow, you just spoke negatively about this person and then now you are going full force towards them. And I don't like the language that he used in the lounge. He literally said, beggars can't be choosers.
I whittled it down to 2 amazing girls and one's gone. So beggars can't be choosers, eh?
These are the kind of things where you cannot blame the edit for that coming out of your mouth about a person that you are considering proposing to, especially on camera and with eyewitnesses, one of them being a person that she has a connection with, and you know that. So for him to say beggars can't be choosers, if I was Nicole and I saw that months later and let's say they did stay together and got married, I would think of myself as the consolation prize. Okay, he settled for me. The thing I love with Jasmine is that after she ended things with Sam, that was the end of the conversation with them. When he shows up later at that bar, she is not even thinking about him. That's not like, okay, I need to have this conversation with Sam. We need closure. She didn't need closure. The closure was accomplished in the pods where it should stay. If you had a relationship with this person sight unseen, you all decided to end the relationship, that is the closure. Why people need to meet in the real world once they see what the person looks like, when they ended things with them before they ever saw them in the first place, I don't understand that. What I take that as is you need to reckon with the fact that you're attracted to this person. You need to make sure they know that you hope there are no hard feelings. I just find it to be very confusing as to why that closure needs to be had in the real world. And if you all have theories on why that needs to happen, let me know. I also don't like when Sam was in the lounge and he was talking about how Jasmine broke up with him. And he said, it's her loss.
Yes, I had feelings for Jasmine, so that was a tough pill to swallow. But at the end of the day, it's her loss, you know? I'm just gonna dust myself off.
To me, again, he views himself as the prize, as the center. A lot of times, you know when there's a real connection when that person says, this is the person I really wanted to be with, and I hope that they're happy. That is the conversation. I remember seeing that with Bliss when Zach ended things with her to pursue Irina. You know, she was talking to, I think it was Tiffany, and she was like, I don't think he's making the right decision, but really I care about him enough. It's important to me that he's happy. I just want him to be happy. When you really care about someone, that is what the conversation looks like. For Sam to once again rely on his strategy for self-preservation, which is false bravado, false confidence, he says it's her loss. Then he goes on and talks to Nicole, and once again, he is love bombing her, basically pleading and begging for her affection.
I think you are everything I've been looking for my whole life.
And this is where I actually do feel for Sam, because you can tell that he really does need a win. He needs someone to choose him, to want to be with him. A lot of us need that. I don't fault him for that. And I see he gets into a pleading stance to make that happen. However, I know that he would get a lot further if he could just be honest with himself about his deficits. We all have deficits. And if you can have a level of self-awareness about them, you can work on them. He needed to be in a place where he loved himself a lot more before he would have come on a show like this. But what bothers me is once he moves on to having the conversation with Nicole after Jasmine breaks up with him, he says, I just knew.
I've had a gut feeling since this whole process has started, and I've just known from day one.
Well, how can you say that when in one of your last dates with Jasmine, you just said that she didn't quite know what you need and she just couldn't give it to you? So which is it? Was it always her? Or is she the person that you had to settle on because beggars can't be choosers? Be honest. At that point, you're just lying. He even says,
I'm not gonna let another one slip by my wayside.
Like he's talking about business opportunities. Every woman is not just an opportunity for you to secure the deal. I'm not gonna just let another one slip by me indicates that the women that you date are replaceable. This one you're gonna catch because you missed the last fish that you were trying to reel in. I just don't understand how he could watch that back himself and not think it's problematic the way that he's talking about women he's supposedly in love with. To look back on that and say it's a bad edit, these are things that came out of your mouth. Unless it was visual effects and you never said it, an edit could not create the bad feeling a lot of us had watching you say those things about people that we've grown to care about by watching the show. Then after he proposes, and you can see this realization on Nicole's face, she says, I love you. And he says, I think I love you too.
Honestly, I love you.
I think I love you too. I can't believe it.
I'm just telling you exact things that were said by him. I can't blame the edit for you saying, I think I love you too after proposing. He would perform one way in the pods, and then I guess you forget that the cameras are also on you in the lounge. I mean, when he made the statement about her weight, when she made the joke about him not being able to lift her up, you're basically saying you're concerned if she's overweight. That's a concern from you. And what I think is interesting is that Beniah heard that and he got upset with Sam. He didn't get worried about if Nicole was actually overweight. That was not his concern. He got frustrated with Sam for speaking about her that way. This video is not about Beniah. This video is not about Nicole. We will get to that video. But I just think that when you compare the two, you kind of see a major difference in how they are receiving and processing information. Now we've got to talk about one of the most uncomfortable reveals that I've ever seen on Love is Blind. When Nicole and Sam first see each other, one of Sam's first things he says to her is,
What do you think?
you don't even say to her, you look beautiful. That's not the first thing you say. You say, what do you think? Again, it goes back to him saying, I think if you saw me, you would be impressed. This is where he starts to feel really superficial, and he's relying on his looks to make up for maybe whatever rejection he's been actually experiencing in the dating world. When he says in his confessional,
Yeah, to me, I don't care what anyone else thinks. To me, she's freaking gorgeous, and I think she liked what she saw as well.
so basically you're saying you don't think that other people would think she's gorgeous. Why did you feel the need to say, I don't care what anyone else thinks, as though you have the alternative, unpopular opinion here? Beniah didn't think that. Beniah didn't think that other people would see her as less attractive. He said to his friends, I know their phrase, I'm punching.
Congratulations. Oh. I am punching well above my weight.
He's dating out of his league based on looks. We also have a good opportunity for watching body language. At the reveal, Nicole shakes her head when he proposes, but then she says yes. A lot of times that is one of the easiest way for us to see what a person's internal monologue is saying, even if their outer language does not match what we're seeing with their gesturing and body language. The way she was shaking her head, no, I don't care if she moved along in that process. I know she would have always been doubting the decision to move forward with that engagement just based off of that moment alone. Sam says,
I'm just a boy who wants to love a girl.
so just anybody? Like anybody will fit the bill? You just want to love a girl? He didn't say, I have fallen madly in love with you. I cannot wait to love you for the rest of our lives. And that sort of language as well, where a person feels the need to continue clarifying the type of person they are. Usually they have to use words because their actions don't tend to match the way they want to be perceived. So they have to kind of convince the people they're engaging with that this is the type of person they are, because if that person was just to pay attention to what they're actually doing, they wouldn't come to that conclusion on their own. Hence saying, I'm amazing, saying you'd be impressed with my looks. These are all things under the same category. You're trying to be a magician. Look over here and not behind the curtain. Pay attention to what I'm saying and don't form your own conclusions based on what I'm doing. Then he asks her kind of intrusively,
It just feels
What colour are your eyes?
black.
Boring brown, but they're not.
clearly he was nervous, but I think sometimes nerves expose our true feelings because it takes us off of our guard. It's a lot more difficult to be on top of our performance and how we are presenting ourselves when we have so much anxiety and nerves. And I've been known to slip up and say some uncomfortable truths in those positions just because I just didn't have enough emotional energy to both control what I was saying and try to deal with all of my anxiety. So I think that, we were seeing some bits of truth about how he actually viewed her. And then somehow by the end of their reveal, Nicole ends up having to comfort him.
So, you did so better than me.
No,
I feel like I'm not good enough.
You are, honestly.
I just wanted you to believe in me.
Yeah, I do.
No one ever gives me the chance.
No.
Maybe Sam was really being vulnerable in that moment, saying that no one gives him a chance. Maybe he was trying to make Nicole feel obligated to give him a chance by making her feel bad for him. And that is something that we see a lot in terms of how a person can use empathy or sympathy even for their own personal gain. We get to the big group event. Of course, the drama of the night is Sam being there. You guys know I detest these group events they do where they bring in people from the pods that never even got engaged. That was just something that they never did in the earlier seasons. So when they started doing it, it was very frustrating to me because it's clearly just a platform to garner more drama. I actually like to watch these shows for the love connections. I know that's boring, but that's why I like this season, because we saw a lot of really healthy relationships. Even if they didn't say yes at the altar, we have a lot to learn from them. So I'm really happy about that this season, but we still had our flagship event just to cause drama. And this drama was inevitably going to be something involving Sam. But again, what I love, Jasmine saw Sam as well. She didn't need to have a conversation with him for closure. She didn't care. Maybe that's something that just didn't make the final edit if they did have that conversation. conversation, but I just love that it seems like the whole Sam thing was not a factor for her and Bobby at all. So basically, thanks to Sam saying this intentionally in front of the camera, you can tell it didn't even go with the conversation, but he wanted to make sure that the audience was aware that Nicole wanted to sleep with him and he turned her down.
Yeah, I remember you wanted to be physical with me, and I said no that night.
This is something that we see happen with people who are very sensitive to rejection, is that they typically want to create an environment where they have the upper hand and have a narrative where they don't look like the person who was abandoned or rejected. We saw that Sam proposed and Nicole decided not to move forward with that engagement and then got with Beniah. All of those things would be major ego hits for any of us. He still wanted to have the upper hand. He wants to insinuate, well, the only reason that you didn't want to move forward with me is because I didn't want to sleep with you.
There was just something missing.
Because I didn't want to be physical with you.
No, it was just the genuine sort of care.
And even once Nicole was explaining to him, you know, I was trying to see if we had any sort of connection, including physical, and he still was like, so basically you broke up with me because I wouldn't sleep with you. Okay, did you just ignore everything else that she was saying in that conversation? And I love that Nicole didn't allow that to rile her up. Nicole basically says after that, I still want to focus on my relationship with Beniah. Having this ring and having this bracelet does not make sense for focusing on him. I don't want to hold on to these things. Sam viewed that as rejection as well, trying to get her to confirm that she wanted to be physical with him. Her essentially saying, it's not that I wanted to be physical with you, it's that I wanted to see if there was any attraction whatsoever. Then he didn't get what he wanted. Then the next strategy was to reveal that information to Beniah. Now, I will talk about Beniah in his video. I do know that Beniah kind of aggressively spoke with Sam, and he did originally say he didn't want to speak to Sam at all, but I'm assuming the producers probably convinced him to get something off of his chest, and he just ended up doing that. But his mom and sister do confirm that he is the type of person who shares what's on his mind, so maybe he would have done that anyway. Maybe there was no production intervention, which I would be surprised by if there wasn't. I can definitely understand his frustration. That conversation was clearly not productive. They didn't both have an opportunity to share their perspective. But I think the interesting thing is that out of nowhere, once again, Sam felt the need to throw Nicole under the bus. He said,
"You're aware when she stayed at mine that she wanted to sleep with me," and I said no, yeah.
That's an important part of the story, right? That she wanted to and he said no. It's very important that we know he rejected her in some capacity. And I guess he thought that this was going to make Beniah feel insecure in his relationship with Nicole. But what he just does not understand is all you did is just prove Beniah right, and that you're disrespectful and unappreciative of a person like Nicole, and the fact that you would even put her on blast like that in front of cameras to her fiance. For what reason? You guys didn't sleep together, so there was not even any news to share. He literally proved Beniah's point. That's why Beniah laughed. He's like, oh, you're just gonna laugh everything off that I say? He's like, I think one thing Beniah was trying to laugh so that he didn't go further with any physical violence, because I think that that was a possibility, just with the level of frustration and anger that seemed to be present for him. But also I think that just made him so much angrier to say, this is exactly what I'm talking about. She's walking away from a conversation with you still thinking you're a nice guy, and you're sharing intimate details about things that happen between the two of you behind closed doors. That's the thing that frustrates Beniah. That's the moment that proved his point. You are not good to her. You would not be good for her. You're not looking out for her. You claim that you love her and wanted to be with her, but here we are just a couple weeks later and you are throwing her under the bus. At that point, I believe Beniah and Nicole probably had slept together. But I know he's thinking, okay, we actually have slept together. I think Nicole probably told him that she did not want him to talk about it, and he respected that. Yet Sam, who didn't even sleep with her, feels the need to share that private business. Beniah does not understand that, and he feels that he is just doing the exact thing that made him so frustrated with him in the pods, and feel that he needed to tell Nicole the type of person that he was. I think in that moment, Sam was kind of trying to save face. Nicole did want him, but she only made that decision because he rejected her. Ultimately, to me, you just ended up proving that Beniah was exactly right about you, that you would save your face above anyone else. And again, I have to reiterate, this is all just based off what we're seeing on the show. But I can't fully blame an edit for things that have actually come out of your mouth. Sometimes we're basing things off the order of things or certain looks someone gave, the music that plays underneath things. Those things are more production and editing. My husband works in film, and I'm very aware of the things that you have to do to create a narrative that can be accomplished even without a person saying the things that would help that narrative. But as you can see, for most of this video, I am directly quoting things that Sam said himself. And I don't really think that you can blame an edit for including the things that you said that were awful. I'm hoping that this has been an opportunity of self-reflection for him, actual self-reflection, not performative self-reflection, because I can tell that there is a boy in there that wants that validation and love and security and stability of a relationship. We all want that. I want that for him. There are just some things that he definitely needs to address with his own self-love that have to be addressed for that to be possible. A person will never be able to give him what he needs before he's able to give himself that first. There is a difference between self-love and hiding behind false arrogance. And I think that's what we were seeing predominantly with how Sam was portrayed on the show. Okay, you guys, those are my thoughts about Sam. Please let me know if you agree, disagree. I love to get a conversation started in the comments. I like seeing your thoughts, and thank you guys so much for telling me to watch this season, because I usually don't watch anything but Love is Blind US, and this being one of my favorite seasons that I've ever watched, I'm super glad that you all recommended that I watch this. And a lot of you said it was reminiscent of season 1 of Love is Blind. Those earlier seasons are a lot of our favorites, and I totally agree with that. The level of maturity this season was really wonderful. It was so great to see people that were in their 30s being a majority of the cast. We saw a major difference in how things were communicated. So I want to know also how you all are feeling about this season as a whole. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I ask that you like this video, subscribe to my channel. Please share it with any Love is Blind fans or anyone who loves therapist breakdowns. I love doing these kind of videos for you all, and this season was actually really a joy to watch. I appreciate you for watching this video all the way until the end. You didn't have to do that, but the fact that you do helps me out a lot on here on YouTube. It's a struggle out here sometimes, you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you.